How's it going, everyone? Sean here from Raw Technique Studios. Now, this video is going to be covering the top 3 recording mistakes that people make when recording in a home studio. It's going to be covering your room, the acoustics, what it sounds like in different rooms, and how to avoid it. We're also going to be covering setting your levels so you never get close to clipping. And we're also going to be covering the latency that you guys might be having in your headphones. So if you're getting a delay in your headphones and you want to get rid of that, that's going to be the third part of this video. So what these videos are taken from is my vocal recording tutorial that I put out about a month ago. And what I did was take 3 of the videos and cut them up and put this together so you guys could have a preview of the tutorial for one, but also just to get this information out for everybody, because this is extremely important. The quality has to be right, or else people aren't going to take your music as serious. So if you're clipping all the time, it's not going to sound good. If you have a bunch of room sound in your vocals, it's going to be much harder to mix and much harder to get to sound natural. And if you have latency in your headphones, that can mess up your flow. It can mess up how you're performing on the mic, and that could also lead to less quality. So let's cover these 3 things. Let's get better recordings, and we're going to start off with the room sound. All right, so here we go. In this section, we're going to be going over room sound and treatment as far as acoustics. So there's a couple ways you could treat a room, and there's a couple rooms that you may want to avoid when thinking about going in for recording. Now, pick a room that's going to work for you. Whatever's going to fit your needs, that's what you're going to have to deal with, and then you could adjust it to get a good recording. So let's take a look at what we have here. In the vocal booth, my mic's set up next to a couple panels. So you can see that I have a panel behind the mic, a panel on the sides of the mic. I also have a panel on the door, and then I have foam on my ceiling. So the entire ceiling is all foamed out. The only parts that are not are the vent and the light. So the point of that is because my flooring is concrete. So you can see here I have concrete flooring, and I wanted to have a soft and a hard. So hard floor, soft ceiling. That's a good way to reduce reflections from top to bottom. Now, I also reduced reflections by putting up these panels on the walls from left to right, front to back. So you want to treat your space with acoustic panels that are going to absorb the lower parts of the frequencies in your vocals, and foam, which is going to absorb the higher parts in your vocals. So acoustics is a big deal, and it's going to make a big difference. So right now you could hear I'm in the vocal booth. If I'm set up where I'm going to be recording right here, it sounds pretty good. So let's go ahead, try out some other rooms and see what that sounds like. Check, check, check 1, 2. So now you could hear that we're in a different room. I actually came into the bathroom to show what a small space sounds like. Now, this has no acoustic treatment on the walls or anything like that. It's just all blank walls. But this is going to show you what a room sounds like when it has no treatment, for one, and it's a small room. The reflections are coming off really fast. So it's like a small delay, and I could hear the room tone it's really, really bad. You don't want your recordings to sound like this. And I've heard several recordings sound like this. You might be in a closet, you might be in a small room, you might be in a room without treatment, but a small room and no treatment is the worst that you could possibly do. All right, so let's move to another room and check that out. Okay, so now we're in my control room, and as you could hear, check, check, check 1, 2, it sounds pretty good in here. That's probably because I have a bunch of acoustic panels all throughout the room and up on the ceiling. So I treated this room to sound really good for my mixing mostly, but also if I needed to record anything in here, it's still going to sound good. If you're recording in the same room, that's perfectly fine, and it still could be a good recording. I've had some of the best recordings done in a bedroom, right next to the mixing area. So it doesn't really matter if you're in a vocal booth or not. You can still get a good sound as long as you treat your room. Make sure you put acoustics. You're treating the acoustics with paneling or some foam, but just make sure it's sounding good like that. So you can hear here, we're in a big room, but I have it treated. If it wasn't treated, it wouldn't sound good. So make sure you're treating your areas. Now this is just to show what a room sounds like when it's a good size. It's fine for recording size-wise, but it's not treated. So you're going to hear a little bit of a reflection, not as bad as when we were in the bathroom. So that's to show that a small room that's not treated is worse than a big room that's not treated. So this isn't a big room, it's a good size for recording. But you can still hear that there's a reflection in here because it's not treated. So you need to put some acoustic paneling up, some foam, and make it to where it sounds right. So go ahead, invest some money into that because your recording is going to sound better, and your mixing engineer, whether that's you or somebody else, they're going to be very happy that you sent them a higher quality recording and they don't have to deal with room sound. Okay, so now that you have an idea of how room sound affects your vocals, and you could hear the difference between the bathroom, the vocal booth, the mixing room, and the other room that's a little bit larger that doesn't have acoustic panels up, you could hear that there is quality difference. And when it comes to mixing, the drier, the more natural sounding vocal you get to your mixing engineer, whether that's you or someone else, that's going to get higher quality and it's just going to be a better product in the end. So now let's jump into setting your levels so you don't get close to clipping, because clipping is a huge thing with a lot of people who are starting to record their own vocals, and there's no reason to get close to clipping. So let's start recording lower and I'm going to show you how right now. In this section, we're going to be focusing on setting your preamp level and reaching our goal of a -12, -18, somewhere in that area. We're going to try to stick to that peak. So it could go a little bit above it, it could go a little bit below it, but we want to average -12. What we're going to do is adjust our preamp level right here until we get it to an average of -12, or if you know that you're going to be really loud in some parts of the song, maybe average -18. So right now we're averaging about -25. So we need to turn up our preamp level. Check, 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 1, 2. We need to turn it up a little bit more. Check, check. All right, so that one's a little bit too much, so I'm going to go it down a little bit. Reset my peak so I can see it. Check, 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 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2. Right there, I'm averaging about -17. So I'm going to go just one more click over on the preamp and check, 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 1, 2. And now I'm averaging about -13. And if I had louder parts, then it might go up right there. It went to about -12.1. But I'm averaging right below -12. Also, you can see over here that I'm staying in the green. That's something that you want to do when you're in Pro Tools. Pretty much any DAW that you're going to be in, there's going to be some type of meter where you could see either colors or you could see numbers. So you want to base it off, if it's numbers, -12 to -18. If it's color, then base it off staying in the green. You don't want to push it. Don't go into the yellow, don't go into the red. So that's the whole thing with setting levels. You want to make sure that you leave plenty of room for headroom, with making sure you're never going to clip. And don't worry about it being quiet, because if I press record right here, check, 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 1, 2, check, 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 1, 2. I don't have to worry about that being too low. I could always go in, click over to my volume, and turn it up. That's it. There's no reason to be recording really loud. If there's a beat in the song and you're saying, oh, well, the beat's too loud, I can't record that low because the beat's too loud, then what you have to do is turn the beat down. So if you had a beat right here on the track, so for example, say here's my beat right here, and you're saying that your vocals are too quiet because you can't hear yourself over the beat. Well, instead of turning your vocals up and ruining your recording with clipping, all you have to do is turn your beat down. So you're just going to turn this down to as much as you need to where you could hear your vocals and your beat being nice and level. Now, it doesn't matter how low you turn this, because you can always turn it up later, and you could always turn up your vocals later. So don't worry about it being too quiet. Simply turn the beat down so you have a nice level to record at, and then turn your headphone volume up. So over here, I have the headphone volume. If I want to, I could turn that up so it's louder in my headphones, or I could turn it down if it's too loud. So do everything that doesn't affect your recording itself. You want to affect the things that you could change. You could always just add some level to hear yourself better right there, and it won't affect the actual recording level. Do not turn up your preamp to get more level just because the beat's too loud. Turn down your beat. All right? So that's setting levels, making sure that you never run into clipping issues and you get a solid recording every time. Okay, so that covers setting your levels so you guys can see what recording level you should be going at, so it's not going to mess up your recording. Now, lastly, let's jump into the third error that is pretty popular. let's go into latency. So if you're getting a delay in your headphones, if anything like that's happening to where the delay, the latency is throwing you off, it's messing up your flow, then go ahead, check out this clip, and it's going to show you how to get rid of that so you can get a better recording, better performance out of yourself, and then it's just one step closer to a better quality recording. All right, so this video is on latency. I'm going to show you guys how to reduce it or get rid of it completely. So this is how we're going to go about it. If you don't know what latency is, it's the echo that you hear in your headphones when you're rapping or singing. So if you say something and then it comes into your headphones a little bit later, it's a delayed signal of it. That's because the audio is coming into your microphone, going into your interface, getting converted into a digital signal for your computer to read. It's being printed on the track, sent back out into your interface again, and then through your headphones. So the audio has to travel all that time to get back to your ears, and sometimes there's a delay in there depending on how your computer's set up or if you have a lot of plugins on. So let me show you how to keep your plugins and to reduce a buffer size to get a better recording. So right now, I'm going to show you guys what it sounds like to have the latency. I'm going to press record, and I have a Waves Tune plugin on here. So you're going to be able to hear an echo when I press record. Check, check 1 2, check, check, check 1 2. So in the headphones, it's coming out a little bit later. Check, check 1 2, check, check 1 2. All right, so that's a problem that can mess up your recording. It can mess up your performance. It can mess up all those things. So what you want to do is eliminate it or reduce it as much as possible. So let me show you how you do that. First off, if you're using a bunch of plugins, say you have a template. For example, I sell a template, and some people have said that there's latency when they try to record into the template. Now, how to avoid that and still have all those plugins there in the session, you go like this. So over here, say this is a plugin that's in our program that's causing the delay. So what we're going to do is right-click on it and make it inactive. That way, it's still there. It still has all the settings on it, but it's not going to take up CPU. Making it inactive will make it to where you could record and the computer doesn't even realize it's there until you make it active again. So that's one way to free up space on your computer so that there is less latency in your recording. Another way is if you go up here to Setup, Playback Engine, and change your buffer size. Recording and mixing are two different things when it comes to buffer size. A large buffer size is good for mixing. A low buffer size is good for recording. So I would bring it down to 256 samples and try that. If you could get away with that and there's not much latency, then cool. If not, then go a little bit lower. But remember, the lower you go, the faster your computer's trying to work, so you might have an error because the computer can't keep up. So go as low as you can without getting clicks, pops, or any errors like that. So I'd say start around 256, and if you have to, go down to 128, and that should help out a lot. And then go ahead and press OK. And there you go. That'll reduce your latency. So now if I press record, check, check 1 2, check, check 1 2. So if you could hear it, it's making it to where when I say it, it's coming right out the headphones at the same time. So there's no latency, and I could get a solid recording and put those plugins back in when I want. After I'm done recording, I could put it back in. And I could also increase my buffer size when I start mixing. All right, so there are the top 3 errors that people make when recording in their home studios. So hopefully that will get you up there, get your quality going. And if you guys are interested in checking out more of the clips from the vocal tutorial, if you want to see the whole tutorial, all 10 videos, then go ahead. I have a link below in the comment or in the description. Go ahead and click that. It'll bring you over. You could check it out. I have a list of all the videos, all the things that are being covered, and you'll see the stuff that wasn't included in this video as far as the room tone, the acoustics. That video is actually longer when it goes to the full tutorial. And the setting levels, that video is going to be longer in the full tutorial as well. Plus, you'll get more videos than just these 3. So go ahead, check that out if you need to. If not, then hopefully this helped you guys out to get 3 steps closer to quality recordings, and you guys could avoid the top 3 errors when recording in a home studio. If you guys like this video, please hit that like button. Please comment down below and please subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.